Welcome to the Skate Podcast.
I wanted to start.
Trailer talk. We haven't talked about trailers in a while. And
We haven't.
There's been a few recently.
Yes.
I guess just jump right into it.
What do we got?
Black Widow.
Black Widow, yeah. My first impressions were too little too late. I feel like it seems like something we should have got earlier because at this point she sacrificed herself to, to save the world and to save Clint. And I kind of felt like to see her again so soon, it almost just, I don't know, like I almost felt like if you had time to miss her, maybe, it might be a little more heavy.
And as you're watching the movie, you know ultimately where she's going to end up already.
Yeah.
So. This takes place after Civil War, I believe.
Okay. But it also looks like it's flashing back to her even younger days.
What I do like about it is it looks slightly more grounded, kind of like how Civil War.
See, and that was the one thing. At first, it looks like it's going to be more Bourne-esque. And then
the Winter Soldier.
Yeah. Well, I was talking about the Bourne identity and stuff. Like it looked like it was going to be more grounded in reality, not so much, crazy stuff happening. And then they take it into this really fantastical sci-fi kind of...
Yeah, towards the end of the trailer, they start doing more... Like, the part where she fights the other Black Widow, who she calls sister, but I don't think it's actually going to be a literal sister, more like...
Okay. Who is that actress? Do you recognize her?
I don't know. I'd have to look it up off the top of my head. But, yeah, I'm guessing she's just another agent that went through the same training program, so they're sisters. And...
we got Captain Communism. Captain Russia, whatever Captain he's going
Russia
by.
Looks like the Russian version of Captain America, played by...
I don't know his actual name.
Jim Hopper.
Yeah, Jim Hopper, Stranger Things.
From Stranger Things. Yeah. He looks like he's going to be a good part of the movie to me.
I mean, he looks like obviously he's the comic relief. It kind of reminds me of, is it from Watchmen, like these old, like the idea of these old washed up superheroes kind of coming out again and kind of just... That's a little bit. Credibles.
What's funny is they're making fun of his weight, but he was actually fatter in the first Stranger Things,
and he got in good shape for the Hellboy movie. Yeah. So
like
I don't know if is that fake or did he put on weight again? I wonder.
It might be fake, or maybe he just has a tiny bit of a belly now, and they made the suit just a little bit too small for him.
Maybe.
But yeah, he still looks like he could kick my butt.
Oh, I'm sure.
But yeah, the part where she's kind of like facing off with the other Black Widow
in the apartment.
Yeah, that fight scene looked a little weird to me because. They're these trained assassins, but you don't get right up on somebody with a gun. A gun is a ranged weapon. You don't need to hold it basically in the other person's hand where they can take it. And they like walk right up to each other.
They just wanted to really emphasize how evenly matched they were.
Right, and then the fight didn't look realistic. It looked...
Again, it reminds me... I know you don't like the Bourne movies, but in the first Bourne movie where he has to fight off that guy... and
I didn't say I didn't like the Bourne movies.
I thought you said you didn't like them.
I didn't say that.
You hate them. Okay, I'm sorry.
I didn't say that either.
All right,
but keep going.
Well, he has to fight this guy, and he doesn't have anything to use, so he grabs an ink pen off the desk. Mm-hmm. But basically how, they're so good, they're basically just this constant of blocking every move, and it just gets kind of boring, but it worked better then. I don't know if it's the first time I really see anything like that, but at this point now, it just feels...
For me, just as, because Black Widow, she doesn't have the superpower. She's just really good at fighting.
Yeah.
So you want her stuff to be more realistic. She doesn't need to be swinging a hammer or throwing a shield around. So that's, to me, is a little on the unrealistic side, but that's a hard complaint against a superhero movie. The other thing would be towards the end, because it was looking more grounded and more realistic. Like I said, kind of like Winter Soldier was kind of a spy thriller, which is what this is going to probably be. Mm-hmm. At the end, when they're kind of skydiving through rubble and stuff, it just looks...
Yeah, that reminded me... I mean, granted, I only seen it once. Which is the one? Was that Ultron, where some cities actually being lifted off the ground or something like that?
Right.
Okay. I don't know. For some reason, it reminded me of that. Just chunks of the earth falling back to the ground, and I don't know.
Yeah.
But I only seen that movie once. I'm not probably remembering it too well.
So with those few critiques... I think it looks interesting enough for me to go see it. Okay. But like you said, it is a little bit too late. If they wanted to do this, they probably should have released it.
What do you think? Even though we know it's a prequel, we know it's beforehand, doesn't it kind of cheapen...
I don't know if it
seeing her
cheapens
so quick? Okay.
I don't know. Maybe it does. But they should have released it before the other movie to make her sacrifice seem more than what it was.
To see what she started off with and how, It almost seems like... I always got the impression that it was almost like a form of slavery to some degree. Maybe that's too strong of a word, but like almost like these girls are being abducted. Like I don't feel like it's like a
that's
free
what it is.
will type of
They're
thing.
being like held. They're taken as small children and being held and trained to be like born killers.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that Red Sparrow that came out recently with Jennifer Lawrence. Kind of, I think it's somewhat the same thing where they're taking, in that case, both boys and girls and kind of training them how to kill and how to lie. And
I guess this would be the first official phase, whatever, 4
or 5, 100.
movie. I'm guessing they're going to have something in it that they need to be for phase 4 to kind of set things up. I don't know if it's going to be anything major, if it's going to be they just want another version of Black Widow. Maybe that blonde girl is going to end up joining the Avengers and becoming the new Black Widow.
Right, okay.
Something like that. Or maybe they'll have an after-scenes teaser for something that's coming up in the future. I don't know.
Could be.
You're a little bit more burnt out. I'm starting to feel the burn a little bit. But so, are you interested in this one?
This is something I could totally wait. When it's on Disney Plus or whatever, maybe I'll check it out.
So yes, but on video.
Yeah, pretty much it can wait. All right, so next we want to talk about Wonder Woman. Is it 84 or 1984?
Yes.
1984? All right, so what'd you think of this one?
I actually didn't really care to watch the trailer because I already don't like DC that much. Okay. The first Wonder Woman movie was okay. It wasn't as good as everybody said, but it wasn't bad.
Okay.
So I gave in and watched the trailer just because I don't know why. I was bored, and they had to play Blue Monday. So that instantly gets points with me because it's like my favorite song ever.
Yeah, I thought of you when I heard that.
And then as I was watching it, actually, to me, it looked almost like a throwback to when superhero movies weren't overdone and they were just fun. Mm-hmm. So it looked like a more fun version of Tim Burton's Batman's, almost in a way.
I can definitely see the inspiration of Stranger Things where, like, you know, just seeing the mundane things of the 80s. Like, you know, a lot of your movies that are more modern, but they're set in the 80s, they want to show, like, the very, you know, the most extreme things, you know, the crazy colors and the crazy flock of seagull haircuts and, you know, all that stuff where, like, you're seeing just, like, old money or the old police cars, the old traffic signs.
Nostalgia is kind of a big thing right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Other movies have done it, like, way before, like,
right, but I feel like where Stranger Things is doing it, like, better, where you're seeing, like, just small, little, subtle things, like a Pepsi can, where, you know.
Right.
And I feel that, but, like, she looks totally out of place. Like, I was like...
Yeah, so Captain Marvel kind of did that with the 90s, too, showing Blockbuster and, like, how the internet used to be.
Yeah. But, you know, it's like, what's funny to me is, like, she looks still, like, modern. Like, just like when they showed her, like, stepping out of the car, she's wearing the white dress. Like, she just looks like now. They didn't really make her look 80s, per se. And I guess, I don't know if it's like they're worried, like, if they gave her a legit 80s style, she would look silly, you know, and they want her to look, you know, beautiful and heroic and, you know, epic and all this stuff.
That might be part of it. Another thing, too, is a lot of our memories of how stuff used to look back then was through the lens of also, like, an 80s camera, too. So, like, stuff looked a little bit more blurry and grainy. Like, maybe we might not think about that.
But I'm talking about her actual physical appearance, like, you know, and I'm not talking when she was in the Wonder Woman armor. I'm talking just in the gown.
Like, if you look at, like, high-definition pictures from, like, back then, or even any time, like, it's weird seeing people look more like they do now, even though it was back then. And they might have the goofy styles and stuff. But, like, just something about seeing them clearly makes it look more like today to me. And I don't know.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Kind of, sort of. But I will say out of the two, this one looks more fun, I think. I'm not sure if it's going to be. I thought it was a little goofy when she was, like, swinging on lightning. Like, her lasso was literally, like, swinging on lightning.
Didn't Captain Kirk die in the
yeah,
first
so
one,
we got to figure out how to... And that's another thing. That was another point where when I first heard that he was going to be in the sequel, I thought that really cheapens his sacrifice in the end of the first movie, to have him come back the very next movie. But regardless, I had heard a rumor that they apparently in the newer versions of the comic book, Wonder Woman is bisexual. And now I'm hearing that they want to explore that here. And supposedly Gal Gadot has even said that she was trying to get Halle Berry to play her love interest in this movie. I don't know how accurate that is. What do you think about this?
Well, I mean, that's what kids need in kids' movies is to explore. You take a 5-year-old to the movies to explore their sexuality and get them to ask those big questions in life.
Well, we'll see what happens. A lot of people were talking about, you know, we need to be more progressive, and DC and Marvel movies, none of them have taken a big step of making a core character gay. And a lot of people think, since obviously Marvel is leading the way with most things, that DC is going to try to play catch up by pulling the trigger first. We're going to have the first openly gay character in one of our movies, so we can say, haha, we got you.
The sounds of that is that Marvel's on track to do that with the next Thor movie. But
I know that Valkyrie or whatever, I'm talking like core characters.
Well,
she's more of a secondary character.
They had kind of cut it in the previous Thor movie. It's already supposed to be that way. They want to do it so bad, but like, really, why? What's the point?
To please everybody.
Even just like the hetero relationships. I'm sick of seeing a superhero always have to like... I know they want to have that in the story, but do they always have to have the love interest? Can't we just have a story? Do they always have to be that
formula? The answer is no.
All right. Well, anyway, this movie...
So we'll see what happens with that as well.
It looked a lot of fun. I don't know... I like Kristen Wiig a lot.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, I know that the Cheetah character, I didn't know much about that character, but like...
Isn't she like a bad guy, or is she an anti-hero, maybe?
I guess there's a few versions of her, but I was curious, because I looked her up or the character, I should say, up when I first heard that was going to be the villain. And I guess in some versions, she's literally like a Thundercat-esque, like humanoid Catwoman thing. And I was wondering, is that what they're doing here, or is it just like she...
Was that her at the end of the trailer? Because I couldn't tell.
With the armor, I couldn't tell.
It didn't look like Kristen Wiig.
So I will say this. So Brittany and I, my wife, I was like, not that we super care, but hey, let's watch these trailers. So I put them on for her. I think I did Black Widow. No, I did Wonder Woman first, then the Black Widow. And I'm trying to remember if I think she said it on this one. She goes, do they have to show the whole movie in the trailer? And I thought, that's great. I'll have to mention that. But yeah, I mean, they do. Why do they need to show her? I know they show in the posters, like where she's wearing like this gold armor, and they kind of show her like transform into that.
There's already going to be comparisons to Catwoman, and I almost got a little bit of like Selena Kyle, is that her name, from Batman Returns, a little bit of Michelle Pfeiffer's character before she became her Catwoman.
Yeah.
Like, there was a little bit of that to me because she seemed like the kind... Like, she's pretty, but a little bit disheveled, and she seemed like she was interested in love, but she couldn't find it.
Well, I thought it was funny when they said, have you ever been in love? And she's like, once, a long time ago. And then she says, how about you? And Kristen Wiig says, like, several times, all the time, or something like that. I kind of wondered, are they going to make her, like, where she's a lesbian or bisexual? Like, in other words, I kind of like you, I'm not sure. But, anyway, but all in all, I think it looks a lot more fun. And I think one time we were talking about movies before where we kind of were talking about two. And I said, if I could see an early screening to one of these movies now, which would it be? And I think out of Black Widow and Wonder Woman, I probably would see Wonder Woman just because it looks more fun. And I think DC might be kind of starting to learn their lesson of stop taking things so seriously. Everything doesn't have to be quite so dark and brooding. And
well, I have a theory on that.
What? Go ahead, lay it on me.
Zack Snyder's not really a part of anything anymore, and that's what he does.
Right, yeah. So everyone's talking about the Snyder Cut. Here's what I don't understand. How can they release a Snyder Cut? Because he didn't finish everything, right? So
I don't know how much of it he had done. He might have had like 90% of it done, and then they did like reshoots or whatever.
I was going to say, like, I just don't feel like it would be complete of a movie.
I don't know. Is everybody really... Because I only really see one person talking about it.
Who? Who are you talking about?
Just some guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't care less. I saw that movie once. I kept getting distracted, and then I would have to rewind stuff because I was like not paying attention.
I skipped Justice League. I still have yet to watch it. However, when it comes to Zack Snyder, like, I liked Watchmen was okay. It had its own sense of style.
Right.
Looking back,
I think it fits better.
I don't think it's aged that well, but I think for the time it was it was a thing. Since it seems like he wants to gravitate towards the where like everything is like the color is taken out, everybody's moody. I hated Man of Steel. I thought it was a horrible movie. Mm-hmm. I don't like his version of Superman where everybody's afraid of him and he hates people. So
I was thinking of that one scene. Was it Superman 4? I don't remember. He's like, I just want the citizens of
the third one where there's
to know that the subway system is still the fastest, most reliable means of transportation in the city.
Okay, no,
it's just like where he's giving like public service announcements.
What was it, like Truth in the American Way?
Yeah, I could see him getting some kid's ball stuck out of the tree. Like,
I watched the George.
Don't play in the street.
I watched a George Reeves Superman and I watched a Christopher Reeves Superman.
Yeah.
And there, there's a kind of a dorky, like, I'm a super goody two-shoes guy, but like I'm gonna tell little Billy, like, you grow up. You be good and strong and, always do your homework type of thing. And then I see Zack Snyder's Superman. It looks like he's reluctantly saving people, looking down at him with stain in his heart. And the people that he's saving, like, there's the one scene in Batman vs. Superman where they're showing that, and, like, I don't know if it was a flood or something he was saving them from, and they're looking up at him, and they're, like, scared of him, and that was kind of the point of the movie, but that's, to me, isn't Superman. I don't read the comics. Maybe it is. Yeah, I know there's a history of Superman being a jerk.
Isn't that kind of like, what was that movie with Will Smith a few years ago where he's...
Hitch?
Maybe.
Hutch?
It's like where, he's like a superhero, but he's like kind of just lazy.
Dutch. It was Dutch.
Yeah, sure. Okay. He's lazy and he doesn't want to save anybody, and he's,
Or maybe it was Critters, the inspiration for all Will Smith movies.
All right. Anyways. And last, we're going to talk about the Ghostbusters trailer, which I just found out about tonight from you.
Yeah. We talked about it a little bit, but we can go over it again.
So I'm watching it, and just like the tone of it, it's like almost like the Karate Kid or something where, this new kid goes into this town, and it just, the tone was so off. It didn't feel like it had any connection with the previous Ghostbusters, which it seems like that's what they're trying to do more to gloss over the 2016 version. And I thought, okay, I'm just kind of waiting for it. And, like, everything just, like, screamed Jumanji. And I know I said this, like, these kids find this game, and it's magical, and some great adventure happens. And this one, it's like, oh, these kids find a little bunker, and there's a car and a proton pack and these uniforms, and they put them on, and this great adventure. I don't know. It just felt like so many other movies, Super 8, Stranger Things, Jumanji, Explorers from back in the day. It just seems done over, and I don't know. Yeah,
the trailer... Okay, first of all, everybody out there, I know, has to be thinking along similar lines. Before any other Ghostbusters came out, after the second one, whenever you thought of Ghostbusters 3, you thought, okay, they're a little bit older now. It's going to be in New York. Either they're getting tired of doing it, or an emergency comes up to where they have to do it. But, now it's like they might need a little extra hand. So then they recruit some younger guys.
Right.
And, like, Paul Rudd, I've always thought would be perfect for a Ghostbusters film.
Yeah.
Like, maybe, not exactly, but maybe like Seth Rogen or the guy that played Daryl from The Office. I can always forget his name.
Oh, Craig Robinson?
Yeah. People like that. I actually think, you watched a little bit of Nathan Fielder, or Nathan For You?
No?
No?
I think so.
Like, I think he would fit in. He's got that real dry sense of humor that they had kind of in the first two, right? But you picture them training guys like that, and I have no problems with girls being in it either, whatever.
Don't lie, you do.
But, training them and then kind of handing the series over to them if they decided to continue with the third one after that.
This definitely is Ghostbusters The Next Generation.
It's not in New York at all. It's out in Kansas, I think. Somewhere it's corn. It's grass, wheat. I don't know. They're out on a farm.
Some kind of plant.
And, there's little things like, oh, my grandpa left this farm and I found all this cool stuff. So this kid has no idea that his grandpa was, I'm assuming, Egon, because Egon's
the girl. She,
was it the girl?
In fact, she even, to me, I was like feeling like such a Stranger Things vibe too going on. She looks like 11. I was like, is that 11? But it's not.
But there was a boy in the trailer too, right?
That Wolfgang, whatever his name is,
the
kid that played Mike Wheeler from Stranger Things. He's in this.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's probably part of the reason, because I'm watching it and I'm thinking, okay, it's Stranger Things and the Goonies combined.
There's another one.
I also, I did feel like a little bit Jumanji in there too, like you're saying. And then like Paul Rudd is the older guy who's going to like tell these kids how it is, but he's saying, you guys don't know what happened in the 80s?
Yeah.
So they're related to a Ghostbuster and they have no idea what happened.
Okay, I can kind of, to throw a bone here. I've met people, these young bucks that don't know stuff that happened in the 90s and early 2000s. I would have to try to drop some knowledge on them.
Here's the thing, though.
And I guess
if they were related to that person.
Okay, I get what you're saying, but let's just say if mom didn't tell the kid,
I wasn't alive in the 40s. I know what Pearl Harbor is.
I understand that, but I'm saying I don't know what the situation exactly is supposed to be if they're going to try to say,
it's just
this
weird.
kid don't even know anything about their father, maybe. But I get what you're saying.
It's just weird to me. So what it looks like is going to happen is that the kids find all the Ghostbuster stuff, and they're like, whoa, our grandpa was a Ghostbuster. And then at some point, they're going to awaken Gozer or whatever.
They showed where something about, they're in wherever, there's never been any plate movements and whatever, and now all of a sudden all this...
There's something underground, and they show a foot that looks like Zool, basically.
Oh, on the car, yeah.
So it looks to me like they're building it up to where it's going to be these little high school kids that are going to have to
it's all
put on the proton packs.
Yeah. this so much reminds me of Super 8.
What's weird to me is, like, all the movies you said, everything I said, it reminds us of all these things. Why isn't it reminding us of Ghostbusters, the movie that it's based on?
Well, of course, they're going to have the uniform, the proton pack, and the
I would also argue that original Ghostbusters movie far surpasses any of those other influences, too. So why are they trying to emulate things that are less than? They might still be good.
Because they're more current. And clearly
they're
this
going
movie
for a younger audience.
Exactly. So movies that are more going to resonate with those kids are going to be those movies, probably.
Yeah, and I did think of Super 8, too. It's funny that you said that. So, like, it doesn't look like it's going to necessarily be a bad movie.
Yeah, if it was its own standalone thing, like, I could be like, wow, this... Because I liked Super 8. Like, Super 8... What was cool about Super 8 is it reminded me of certain movies, but I didn't feel like completely copying. Like, there was an E.T. feel and a Goonies feel and whatever.
J.J. Abrams obviously has a Steven Spielberg crush.
Absolutely, yeah.
It did. It reminded me of E.T., obviously. Also, it reminded me a lot of, actually, Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Sure. There's a lot, but not so much that it just felt like...
Right. It felt influenced by those, but it didn't feel like a copy in a way. However, like, I don't know.
The tone just doesn't feel right for this to be a Ghostbusters movie.
When I think Ghostbusters, I think of the, three misfits that are, all three of them are very smart, but one is the super scientist, one is the optimistic, kind of goofy guy, and one is the pessimistic, sarcastic jerk in a way. And the three of them are all centered around paranormal, whatever, interests for some reason. I think probably Peter is more in for it for the girls, but... Yeah.
Well, like where Winston was the outsider guy.
Yeah, Winston was
the one that was supposed to help us, where all these kids are basically going to be that character, as far as I can tell. None of them know what's up.
It's like...
Really, so Paul Rudd is going to be the only experienced one.
To bring up Star Trek like we do in every episode, Winston is the person who's standing there listening to the science jargon and says, oh, like this, in an analogy for dumb people to get it.
Yes.
Or people that, aren't in tune with whatever make-believe sci-fi stuff they're saying.
Right. So, well, who knows? Another 5 years when they decide to really get the third Ghostbusters right and they totally gloss over this one.
Why don't they just wait till they're all dead and then do it?
Okay, so that's another question. Are any of the old actors going to be in this? I can see Dan Aykroyd probably saying yes, absolutely.
I think they probably all will be at some point.
As themselves, as their actual characters?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
When I was reading through the comments, when some people are saying that the voiceover was Bill Murray, I didn't catch it. I haven't watched it since then.
What was the line? It was the quote from, oh man, what was it? I don't know. But yeah, I know what you mean.
So, I just wish that maybe going in this direction is kind of unexpected. And that's what they wanted. Like, let's not give them what they're expecting. Let's give them something. It's not fresh, but I don't know.
So I'm just wondering too, like, so what did Egon decide after things really died down again to take the car, the proton packs, the uniforms, the traps, all this junk, and he takes it out to this Kansas farm and buries it? That reminds me of the way Doc hides the DeLorean in the mine for Marty to find in the 50s. Like, I don't know.
Isn't Ray the one that had a family farm?
They did say that. That's a good point. Yeah, he leased or not. He got a mortgage on it, 3 mortgages or something.
So that would make more sense. However, if they're saying that they did say Grandpa died, right, and left us all this stuff.
Possibly, I can't remember.
So I don't see them killing off one of the remaining living Ghostbusters.
I don't know.
So it would have to be Egon, right?
And here's another thing: do you think they're going to try to do this Grand Moff Tarkin CGI ghost version of Egon to have him in the movie?
I really hope they do not do that.
I bet they will.
Well, we'll see. Last night I watched a movie I've been wanting to watch for a while.
Lay it on me.
It's a Netflix exclusive. Dolemite Is My Name. You haven't seen it? It has Eddie Murphy in it.
What's it called?
Dolemite Is My Name.
No, I don't think I've even heard of it.
It's based on Rudy Ray Moore. He was a guy that did a lot of the blaxploitation movies in the 70s. The ones that were super over the top and ridiculous. Yeah. And they weren't necessarily good movies, but they were so silly that they were extremely entertaining.
Okay.
Eddie Murphy's in this where he plays that character, or that person, like it's almost a biopic. It's kind of like Ed Wood. You've seen Ed Wood?
No. I know
You know what it is, though. Yes. So it's based on the director from like the 50s who made all the worst movies ever, but he has a big cult following. It was a lot like that in a way where they're showing like how he
getting movie stars.
His process.
Kind of like the Alfred Hitchcock movie that came out, but it didn't do well a few years back with...
there was a movie about Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah, and where he was trying to get Psycho made.
Oh, yeah, it's probably like that
Hopkins,
then, too.
Anthony Hopkins, I believe, and Helen Mirren was in it, I think.
It's probably like that, too, then. Yeah. But, yeah, they both had, like, the similar things where, like, they're both, like, these super crappy movie makers, but they are not going to let anybody stand in their way. They're going to do what they want to do their way, and even if anybody doesn't want to support them, they're just going to get it out there anyway that they can.
Well, how was it?
It was really good.
Okay.
It started off with a little, I think it takes about a half an hour, and then the movie really starts to get going, I feel. But, if anybody out there is a fan of, like, you haven't seen Black Dynamite yet, the movie.
Yeah, I've heard you talk about it. I mean...
Like, if that movie is heavily influenced by Rudy Ray Moore's movies, and you'll recognize just tons of stuff. Yeah. Anyway, if any of that kind of stuff is interesting to anybody out there, I'd say definitely check it out on Netflix.
Yeah, I watched The Irishman.
Okay, well, we'll get to that in a second.
No.
So, like, the acting and everything, you'll recognize a lot of stars. Daryl from The Office, what's his name?
Craig Robinson, I believe.
Yeah, he's in it. Key or Peel, one of those two is in it. They actually have Wesley Snipes in it playing a character, and Wesley Snipes is pretty hilarious in it, too. Okay. It's well done. I'd say check it out, and it's nice to see Eddie Murphy kind of, like, back.
Yeah.
So
you don't want to see another Pluto Mars?
How was The Irishman?
So, it was, I was surprised because it's like 3 hours and 30 minutes. So, I thought it was going to be one of those types of things where I wouldn't be able to finish in one setting. But Brittany and I started watching it, and I think, got done about 2:30 in the morning that night. And I overslept for work the next day. But it was good. There was a few things I wish they would have explored a little more since they were already making it so long. I felt like, wait, let's find out what's happening here, what's going on there, and some things they just kind of glossed over. But all in all, it was pretty good. I probably would need to watch it again. I still think it's probably as good as Goodfellas.
That's what I was going to ask, because myself and I'm sure a lot of other people are thinking Goodfellas and Casino are like almost interchangeable. The same movie.
No, I disagree. In Casino, I think Casino
they're 100% exactly the same movie, and then.
No.
So how does this compare to those
I thought
two?
Casino was going to be great, and I didn't like Casino.
Okay.
But, like, they do the whole, Scorsese has his things where, like, it's, like, narrated. It's like he's telling you a story, and you're kind of seeing
it. And it's based on true events.
Yes. But, it's, like I said, it was good, it was interesting, and it probably made it a little more interesting that, some of the stuff is based on real events and real people, and obviously some of it's just something they threw in to fill in gaps or make it a little more entertaining or flow a little better. So I don't take everything that they say and show as being truth, but that kind of made it interesting. It made me want to look up a little more about Hoffa to find out. I did get into a Hoffa kick a while back.
Was it about Jimmy Hoffa?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't even know that.
Al Pacino plays Jimmy Hoffa in this.
Hooah.
Yeah. But, like I said, there's just a few things I felt like for as long as it ended up being, why not just do it all out? And there was a few things I wanted to see better, a few things I just wish were explored more. But it was fun. It was interesting. It jumps a lot of decades. So they're doing a lot of the stuff to make them look younger at certain parts, older at certain parts. So yeah, pretty good.
All right. Well, I guess that's it for our little impromptu mini episode here.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll be doing some Christmas movies real soon.
Yeah. Well, we got one more movie planned before we get to Christmas movies, or a movie, however many it turns out to be, but we'll see what happens.
That's true. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's about it for this episode, right? That's so cute.
Happy Thanksgiving. Wait, we already did that.
Yep, we sure did.
All right, bye.
Thanks for tuning in.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to travel through time. I bid you adieu.
Don't stop now! You can't go! All the plants are gonna die!
Where are you going? I've got to return some videotapes.
Bye, Felicia.
You know,